Welcome back. This is Crypto, and it never seems to stop. I have footage of Brian Brooks talking to Patrick Harker from the Philadelphia Fed on November 19th, just a few weeks ago, giving his opinion of exactly what XRP is to him in his eyes. And if that wasn't enough, Lloyds Bank of London is going live, the first to go live with Swift GPI. Let's roll that intro and get into this.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove at the top of the screen and everything that we're talking about here. Let's go ahead and get into this. Shout out to BondCrypt, Michael Val 5 Links, XRP Crypto Wolf, Jesus Tejero, who has a birthday today. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Yeah, that's the Stevie Wonder version. Poorly done. But nevertheless, happy birthday, Jesus. I hope you have a great day, buddy. And everybody else that sends information, thank you so much. So here we go. Russia's largest state-owned bank to launch crypto experiment with JP Morgan. Also considering launching a digital asset trading platform and minting its own digital ruble. Well, I think this is a good idea because so are all the central banks going to issue their digital dollar. And I believe that that is going to run on the XRP ledger. Let's keep moving on. James Rule XRP, shout out to you, my friend, reminds us that the CFTC Technology Advisory Committee to meet on December 14th. Okay, just another 12 days at this meeting. The TAC will hear presentations from TAC subcommittees on virtual currencies and distributed ledger technology and market infrastructure. That is going to be a pretty great meeting, I think, and we're all going to want to watch that. And I know I'll certainly try to see if I can get an invitation and register for that as well. So thank you, James Rule. Let's see, BondCrypt XRP here. Thank you, my friend. Facebook-backed Libra Association rebrands as Diem. Diem Associates CEO Stuart Levy more or less acknowledged that the new name is an attempt to distance the group from Facebook and from its earlier controversies. So we all know that Facebook had a real penchant to sell everybody's private information, but let alone Mark Zuckerberg obviously don't want you to know what he's doing. So we know that Facebook has really got a lot of mud on their face and they're looking to distance themselves. And as they move closer to launching the stablecoin Libra for Facebook platform to 2.7 billion users in just about a month. So we're looking at this now from Michael Val 5 Links. Thank you, my friend. Great to see Michael Val 5 Links. BlockFi announced on December 1st that in collaboration with payment service Visa Incorporated, NYSE, it will be launching a Bitcoin rewards credit card early next year for the first of its kind. Listen, I'll tell you something. I'll be all on a card like this. If I can get reward points and then those reward points can actually go up in value as I'm holding them, sign me up. Come on in. Now, here's where we move into a little bit of that. Boy, Bitcoin got some troubled waters. You know, it's like, first of all, I'm long on Bitcoin, so don't beat me up and send me the messages, okay? But the reality here is we do see a lot of people, whether in regulatory or, formerly of, administrations of current president, former Goldman Sachs president, former economic chief to the current president right now, Gary Cohn, is not a strong believer in Bitcoin, saying it may fail. Bitcoin lacks some of the basic integrities of a real market. Wow. I have to say, I think things like this take us to an inflection point because this is the former Goldman Sachs president and a former economic advisor here, chief economic advisor, I might add. And then you have the flip side of this, which is the CEO of the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock, says Bitcoin has caught the attention of many and could evolve into a global market asset. Now, you can't get any more opposites than that, right? So I when I look at this, I say to myself, we have a real opportunity here to see this inflection point is about to play out in front of our eyes. And good, because I want this to be settled once and for all. And when I look at things like, BlackRock CEO addressing that and saying that not only could it be evolving into a global market asset, which I believe it really is, he said having a digital currency has a real impact on the US dollar, making it less relevant on a global scale. Well, this leans back more to what Gary Cohn is talking about, I believe, about it not having the integrities of a market, traditional market. And then obviously there is the national security issue when you talk about an asset that's not backed by a country. It's not a sovereign asset, and yet it's scaring governments and what it could become, right? So, but listen, I think however this goes, I think it shakes out with Bitcoin being around. That's my personal opinion. I'm long on Bitcoin. I don't have enough of it, but I do like it. And I, not like I like XRP. I like them for different reasons, right? I just believe that it will weather the storm. It has weathered the existence of digital assets because it is the first digital asset on the market, right? So we'll see how this goes, but I do believe there's going to be a point to where this will no longer be something you can shun. This will no longer be something that you can say, I think it will fail. There is going to reach a point very quickly, very soon, I believe, that you will find out no matter what impacts are brought on because of policy or regulatory framework, I think you're going to find it's going to be better for Bitcoin in the long term. And then it will really skyrocket, I believe. I really do believe that. Then we see here even more trust in exactly what I just said and belief that it will be around for a while. New York Digital Investment Group, latest BTC fund, raised $50 million from two unnamed institutional investors. A separate crypto fund apparently also raised $100 million from a single whale. Now, this just shows me the level of how people are really committed to moving into this space. They all know that there's going to be a crash in the traditional markets, and at the very least, they're looking at taking a hedge position. This is no longer just a speculative asset, Bitcoin. This is moving now into where people are placing money in this as a hedge to what is going to happen in the traditional investment space. So looking here, we see almost 20%, thank you to XRP Crypto Wolf, of PayPal users have used the app to trade Bitcoin. Now, just 20% already out of the gate are using the app from PayPal to trade Bitcoin, buy and sell, hold, what have you. Now, it says here, per Mizuho, I think I said that right, survey, about 65% would use Bitcoin as a currency at PayPal's 28 million merchants. 17% of users have already used the app to buy and sell Bitcoin. Now, here's the point I wanted to make about this in this. First of all, it's great. I mean, this is going to create scarcity. It's going to create supply and demand. Right? There's not enough supply, demand's there, the price is going to go up. This is the way this works. It's what's been happening already. It's going to continue to happen. And it'll even broaden the case, I think, once we get Facebook in the mix as well. Now, looking at this, and you see that 65% would use Bitcoin as a currency to pay at PayPal's 28 million merchants. This is where we need that defining moment to really find out here. Are we currency? Are we going to be taxing this stuff as property? Or are we going to be taxing the users of these assets as we acquire them as ordinary income? What is going to be the end result here? And this is what we really need to pay attention to, because as we find that out, it's going to tell us just how quickly and how hard this crypto space is actually going to take off. And I think it's going to take off pretty wild. So obviously we're looking at all these things happen, and they are really the winds of change. And shout out to iTrust Capital. Guys, if you're not checking out iTrust Capital for crypto IRAs, I don't know what to tell you. You just don't be late to the dance. Contact them, check them out. I got a link in the description box and the comment section, and they have a great special. I still believe it's at least 1 month free for your sign up. And they offer the best crypto IRAs on the market, bar none. There's no one that competes with them. But here, they remarked that when Christine Lagarde was the IMF managing director, she wrote Winds of Change, the case for a new digital currency. She said, let me start with the financial inclusion, and where digital currency offers a great promise through its ability to reach people and businesses in remote, marginalized regions. We know that banks are not exactly rushing rushing to serve poor or rural populations. President now of the European Central Bank. And you know what? There's some more winds of change that are on the way too. And those winds of change are, do not forget that SBI, shout out to Cryptic Poet, SBI is testing XRP-based payments platform and the use of digital asset in a $6.6 trillion FX currency market. How about that for winds of change? Wait till you see that button get pushed, right? When they're done testing and they go on and because they know the results, they've been testing it for years, right? SBI is clearly Yoshitaka Kitao, sits on the board at Ripple, an investor in Ripple, a part investor and owner in R3. It's going down, right? It's just, we don't know when. I don't know when prom night is, but I know they've already bought the dress. XRP and the ledger are the dress. That's where we're at there. So keep an eye on that, because when that does happen, I can tell you right now, it won't be 62 cents. And you'll wish that it was so you could get some more. But it won't be. And when it does happen, it's going to happen so quick and so fast, I think it's going to make your head spin. So now, here we go. We're at 62 cents this morning. Let's keep moving. Let's not get our wheels stuck because we got a lot to look at. We are going to look at Brian Brooks give his definition and opinion of XRP, of what it is and what the ledger is. You're not going to believe it. I think it's pretty fantastic for us. And he's talking with Patrick Harker from the Philadelphia Fed. So it's a real conversation going on. So looking here, Ripple releases Brianna Madigan's explains why derivatives are the building blocks of every market development cycle, including the crypto market. And we'll take a look at this just really quickly as an overview here. How do derivatives drive new entrants into the market? Well, you know, I went on about this when I first started my channel about how we need the products on top of the underlying asset. Those products being futures, ETFs, ETNs, call options, swaps, puts, all these things that more than likely most of us don't understand. And most of us probably don't even need to be involved in, right? So, because it's a great way to lose your fanny. So when you're looking at this stuff, I just want to remind you of a couple things really quickly. So, you know, the derivatives market is usually the larger part of a market because it is the paper traded products that are launched on top of the actual asset. If you look at an example like the metals market, gold, silver, and those things, you can do gold futures, you can do gold ETFs, you can do gold options, call options, puts, swaps, the whole bit. And the larger amount of money traded daily in the metals market is traded on those products and not the asset. I think the last time I checked was back in 2018, and it was something like, 500 billion traded a day, either 500 million or 500 billion traded a day in the products on top of gold, and then only like 100 billion a day in the actual physical gold being bought and sold daily. So it's a huge, huge market. And just to show you how big that market is, James Rule XRP gives us a look at big derivatives are in the visualization. And when you look at it, this is the derivatives, right? The gross market value, 11.6 trillion. The face value is 558 trillion on the low estimate, right? And just if you don't know, a derivative is a contract between two or more parties that derives its value from the performance of an underlying asset, index, or entity. So if you were to buy a future contract on top of the asset gold or Bitcoin or XRP, right? The performance of that contract is going to matter about how it plays out at which party gets paid out at the end, depending on the performance of the asset that you bought that future on. Right? So look at the size of this just as an illustration, by the way, of how big the derivatives market is. Just look at this. All these blocks represent how big the market is. This is what we're talking about. And on the high end of the notional value, we're talking $1 quadrillion. Right? And look how big the derivatives market is here. I'm still scanning. I mean, I don't think you can get a better visualization. I really don't. And it just goes to show you how big that market is when you look at the products that are dealt with on top of these assets. That's where the larger part of the market is. And that's why Brianne Madigan's pointing towards that, because this is where the market needs to go. I've been saying this, and you're about to see, I believe, a huge growth point or maturation point of this market growing up and about to get a lot more of these derivative products brought in. Because what she's really hinting at here in her remarks is that this is necessary, right? If you want to see the market grow in the way that you've seen the traditional market grow to the size it has, and the institutional level of involvement in this market, you need to give them the tools that they are used to working with, and those tools are the derivatives. So we're going to keep an eye on that. That is just massive what is about to enter this space. We're talking trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars about the flood into this space, because you have to remember, it's not just them flooding into this space. It's also all of the market that exists in the traditional world right now being tokenized. That has to run on something. When it gets tokenized, when they tokenize all the products on top of gold and silver, and they digitize all these things and tokenize them and move them to a financial payment rail to sit on, right? When they move them to a payment network to settle on, you have to remember, this is not just about the blooming and explosion of the crypto space. This is also about digitizing and tokenizing the traditional market in every aspect where there is a asset of value. So this is enormous what's coming to us. Now, if that wasn't good enough news, look at this from Finextra, and shout out to Jesus Tejero for that, and happy birthday to you, my friend. And shout out to Villegas. Villegas actually sent this to me, and I'm telling you right now, I'm very grateful that he sent this Brian Brooks clip to me that's getting ready to tell you what he thinks of XRP while talking to Mr. Harker from the Philadelphia Fed. So looking here, Lloyds Bank of London is the first in the world to switch on Swift GPI instant connection. What this means is that they are now able to send a payment cross-border and see what the from the sender and receiver what they are accepting, right? This now allows the sender and receiver to see these cross-border payments and what the chain of the payment will be, what the cost and everything of payment will be before accepting it. And this also is something that Ripple and XRP can do, as well as instant settlement. Now, this is instant payment. This is not talking about instant settlement here. But nevertheless, look at this. Go Live follows a successful pilot that took place earlier this year and involved banks including Lloyds, Barclays, Commonwealth Bank of Australia, DBS, Wells Fargo, and BBVA. It saw cross-border payments credited to accounts in the UK, seconds, and built on the successful proof of concepts run by Swift and market infrastructure in Singapore, Australia, and Europe over the past 2 years. See, they've been testing this stuff for a long, long time. They already know what the benefits are. Like I said, I don't know when prom night is. I just know they already bought the dress. Now, let's go over here and let's listen to this exchange, excuse me, of Brian Brooks, November 19th, talking to the Philadelphia Fed, Patrick Harker, and listen to what he says here going forward, because it's two different responses. One, the first part is about getting a bank charter, and this is what he says about companies, fintechs that want to get a bank charter. They could already do this yesterday. So again, no great big podium moment, you know, with a guy with a funny hat coming out and a gavel and going, now here it is, now here it is. It takes the market to wake up a little bit and go, oh wow, like they already did that. Right? So that's a lot. That's more times than not how decisions are made. Let's go ahead and hear this exchange.
They want to know your forecast for when we will actually see national charters available to fintech companies.
Really quickly, I also apologize for the blurry vision because that's the way it was recorded, but that's how we got it. And nevertheless, I'm really grateful for Villegas sending it over.
Well, if you mean national charters available for non-depository fintech companies, my guess is you'll start seeing that next year. But if you mean for fintech companies to find a way into the banking system, the answer is yesterday. I have on my wall over here the signed charter for Borrow Bank, which is the first native fintech to get a national bank charter. We've chartered GCO, which is a group of Caltech data scientists, invented a payments application to manage your underlying securities portfolio. We've got SoFi with a conditional approval and a number of crypto companies in the pipeline for national trust banks. So,
by the way, if you're an accredited investor, SoFi is available on Link 2. I've shown you guys that before. And don't forget to sign up for that conference coming December 8th. So check it out.
Again, if all you mean is the narrow question of non-depositories, that's probably a next year thing, but it's not 2 years away. It's definitely next year. If what you mean is native fintechs finding a way into the system and finding value in it, we're already there. Wow.
So back again to crypto.
Listen to this answer. It is exactly about XRP and the ledger. I love this.
People are really curious about your thinking. So the question is really about a specific issue, XRP, one particular. Is it a currency or is it a commodity?
Well, Pat, let me just begin by telling you a funny story relative to XRP. So recently I was at a car dealership in Southern California. Took a car out for a test drive. The salesman had to make a copy of my driver's license. When I came back after the test drive, the salesman was waiting on the lot with the photocopy of my driver's license. And he came over to me and he said, Mr. Brooks, I assume you want me to shred this right away because, as he said, you're a very important person. And I said, ooh, I am. No one's ever said that to me before. And he said, yes, I'm an XRP holder.
I can see this happening, right? I mean, this is so cool that he happens to run up on a car dealer salesman that is actually in the XRP and hitting him with that out in the parking lot. Like, you and me are buds. I'll hook you up, man. Listen to this.
So these XRP people are very passionate about their project.
You damn right we are, Brian.
Look, the OCC is not engaged in the business of categorizing assets under any given set of laws. I mean, despite my title, I don't determine what currency is. I'm the guy who supervises the banking system, right? The SEC, either will or won't say whether XRP or its original distribution is subject to securities laws. But I can tell you this. The blockchain on which XRP is built, like all other blockchains, is a payment network. That's what blockchains are. They are internet means of transmitting value from person A to person B without any central intermediary. The XRP ledger is no different from any other blockchain.
There you have it. He is talking to Patrick Harker from the Philadelphia Federal Reserve, and he's telling him, look, the SEC can rule, and that's up to them to rule about whether that was a security or not, but what I'm telling you is it is a payments network, just like any other blockchain out here is a payments network. There you have it. All right, that's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and share with somebody you know. Make sure you check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. Those are vetted, trusted links and products and services. I use each and every one, or it wouldn't be there for you to see. So there might be something there that you may want or need. So make sure you check that out. And I will catch all of you on the next one.